New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, welcome back. It's wonderful to have you here. And this is once again Global Focus Today, and I am Reverend Dr. Sharri Johnson, your host. This week we have a return guest, and you're going to love her as much this time as you did last time, because this time I'm telling you some things that I didn't tell you last time, because I have learned my 3 unusual things introduction. And so I ask everybody to tell me 3 things that people don't know about him. And the first thing she talked about, I just love. And it is that her mission in life is to spread joy. And she does it quite literally with these little yellow plastic 3D joys. I have several of them in my office. But in addition to that, she works with her husband, Robert, and my guest is Lara Brzezinski. She works with her husband, Robert, who created the New Thought Media Network, which is the platform we're using here. But they've always had a vision of working together to spread the message of love, peace, prosperity, and abundance for everyone. And what's really unusual about the two of them is that they do it together, but they also do it separately. It's like they do it together, work as a team without being in the same room at the same time, which I personally think is one heritage side of a miracle. And the third unusual thing that most folks don't know about her, and I'm very honored that she's willing to bring this up and talk with us about it, because it's really an important topic, is that she is a mom to not 1, but 2 trans teens. And she said she considers this an honor and a privilege. And to me, that pretty much says everything that needs to be said about Lara Brzezinski. Please help me welcome her back to Global Focus Today. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me. You're so funny. There's plenty more that can be said about me. That is for sure. But that's a great start. Thank you.
So tell us about how the little joys started and what you do with them, because I just love those little joys.
I wish I could remember what actually prompted, but I got the idea. I wish that I could share joy. And it was in a conversation with my teenager a couple of years ago. And she's the one that found these little 3D printed plastic joys and said, "Hey, Mom, what if?" And so together we have been printing and sharing these joys. And as I was sharing earlier, it started just out as a fun little idea, like a whim, like I could pass out joy. And it has so evolved into so much fun, because I do my best every day to make sure that I have joys with me. And so I literally have a sign by the front door that says, "Did you remember your joy?" Now, I put that there for me to remind myself to fill my pocket with these little plastic joys so I could pass them out. But I since realized that's a message for everyone that leaves my house. Did you remember your joy? And when I'm with people, so I'm part of a women's networking group, and I shared with them one time, I said, "I have a pocket full of joy. Would anyone like some?" And we all laughed. And I just, again, realized it has turned into this fun little opportunity to remind myself how easy it is to be playful, how easy it is to put a smile on your face, on someone else's face, how easy it is to share joy, even without these. But just it makes it easier, and it's fun.
Well, it tickles me. And I did not mention in the intro, because I wanted to leave some things for you to say, the fact that you and Robert don't just work together on New Thought Media Network here. You work together all over the world, Mexico and Africa. I mean, tell us about some of your travels. This is exciting.
It has been exciting, and I do have to give 90% of the credit to Robert. It's New Thought Media Network in being of service at different New Thought conferences and videotaping and upload live streaming, things like that, that he has been able to get us around the world because he's needed help. And he said, will you come help me? And sometimes it was moving the camera. Sometimes it's just hauling stuff. Other times it's monitoring the Zoom room. But I have been able to support him in supporting these conferences. And then the beauty is we also get to see all the people. We get to participate and be there. And so it's a beautiful expression of when your business and life flow, right? That they're like in this perfect harmony of a dance, because we get to be at the conferences and we're supporting the conferences and supporting getting the message of New Thought out, and we're supported financially with our businesses. So it's been awesome.
But it's not always grunt work, because when you were in Mexico, you were the one who did the workshop.
I did.
Tell us about
Well, not only is it not all grunt work, there's downtime. So we got to go to the mineral hot springs, and I apologize. My computer is freezing. So if it's me, I do apologize. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Keep talking.
Okay. I couldn't see me. We got to enjoy other people's company at the meals, sit in the mineral baths. And I think that is what's helped my foot heal amazingly. And yes, I was offered the opportunity to present my workshop, Craft Your 12-Week Roadmap to Success. And it was so fun. And it was my first opportunity of speaking at first opportunity participating in a bilingual convention. Yeah. And being the recipient, on the end of, I have an earpiece and it's being translated for me when the other person is speaking a different language. That was my first experience. So that was beautiful. Wow. And then presenting the workshop, where some people were English only speaking, some were bilingual, and some were Spanish only. And so they were having it translated. And so I prepared my handouts also in Spanish, and I did have the caveat. Now, I used Google and AI, so did the best that I could. But yes, it was such a joy. That conference alone, Convention of the Americas, which happens every year, was first week of August. I invite anybody, get yourself there. Such a container of love, regardless of whether or not you could speak the same language verbally, the language of love, the language of smiles, the language of joy. We all could share that, and it was incredible.
It's marvelous. So then the third point, and I'm going to say, tell us what you think we need to know, because I don't even know what questions to ask. But I am so honored that you are willing to take this platform and give us some insight and some wisdom and share your experience.
So I am the mom of 2 trans teens, and that has been quite the journey for all of us, obviously, and all of our family members. And what I realized in the beginning was there's so much that I didn't know. I didn't know what to say, how to say. I didn't know the best way to support my kids. we stumbled a lot. We still are. And I realized that it wasn't until I started sharing with people that I found out other families that had a trans teen or a gay teen or a teen that was struggling with identity issues and all of the anxiety that comes with that. And so I recognize the more that I speak out and say, hey, I'm one too, and I don't have all the answers. However, I might be able to help. And it's really just to be a safe place. Oh, hello, Peter. It's to be a safe place for somebody who has questions, somebody who just wants to share their feelings, somebody who I don't know how to address them. I don't know what to say. And just to help other people recognize that it is more common than we're aware of, that all of the letters, and there's so much more that I'm still learning from my kids on the different ways that humans see themselves, present themselves, interact with each other. It's yeah. And I just want to help other people feel okay with the questions, the concerns, the grief, the joy, the I don't knows. And so that's part of why I share that about me.
Well, it's amazing to me, the generosity of doing that, because I don't know how I would do it. It's almost impossible for me to imagine what it must be like to have your world turned upside down and realize that it wasn't turned upside down, it was turned right side up.
Mm.
And be able to keep your balance and help them keep their balance. I am just thrilled and delighted.
What one of the many things that I've learned along this way is that, first of all, I will back up for a second. I believe that humans have been evolving for years. And so why would we not continue to evolve? And so I think this is just a different form of evolution for the human species. And what I've come to realize in my own personal journey of awakening and awareness and claiming the truth of who I am is that we come into this world and our environment provides these rules, these structures. And so until we wake up enough to start questioning the rules that are presented by our household, our family members, our teachers, our community, our religion, our government, our country, right? There's so many rules that are placed on us. And I put rules in air quotes, but they're guidelines, they're expectations. And that includes, well, if you come out with female parts, that means you're a girl and you're supposed to wear pink and wear dresses and dance and right. And we have been butting up against some of those for years. There have been many women that have like, screw that, like, wait. And so now evolution is saying we're challenging those rules because that's not the truth. It's just another, I don't know. Sorry. It's just another way of saying you get to make your life up so it works for you. And if you come out and you have this sense that something is not right, you get to challenge it. And then you get to claim for yourself the truth for yourself of who you are, how you want to present, who you want to love or don't love, or have kids or don't have kids, or whatever. In the end, all of the rules and the expectations that have been placed on us, it's the opportunity to question and really get to the core for each one of us. What is the truth for me?
So what I'm hearing you say is that the new thought dictum that we are always in every situation in every condition, in every moment of our lives, we are always at choice, applies to blinking everything.
Yes. It starts with the moment you wake up and go, okay, how am I going to choose, whether consciously or unconsciously, my next thought, feeling, action? And it just keeps going from there until you have no more days where you wake up and take a breath. But we get to choose everything, and so much. We go through life just on autopilot because this is what I'm supposed to do. And I love the line, and I think it was the Eagles. So oftentimes, right, we live our lives in chains and not realizing that we have the key, right?
It's the story from Man in the Iron Mask and Count of Monte Cristo, Dumas. And I can't remember if it was Dumas Père or Dumas Fils, but one of the two of them told the story, and it's been told over and over and over and over again, of the man who got locked in a prison. And he was there for 30 years. And every day somebody would come and they would shove his lunch through the hole under the door, you know. And one day nobody came and gave him food. And he went to the door and he took hold of the handle and he pulled, and the door wasn't locked. It had never been locked. He was kept in prison by his belief that he was kept in prison. So shifting that, opening the door, saying to your children, here's the deal, kids. You're driving the bus. You get to choose the route. You get to choose the path. You get to choose the diversions. You get to choose everything. That is, I want to say it's a no-brainer, except that most of us never think to say that.
Exactly. It's taken me years to figure that out.
Ought to be a no-brainer. And,
Right.
and you are pulling it, kicking and screaming into the world of reality, which is a wonderful thing.
And that is one of the gifts where I said it's a privilege and an honor, because my kids have challenged me to look at my own rules and expectations without pointing their finger at me. It was, do you support me? This is the expression that is coming forth from me. Do you support me? Do you, in a way they're saying, do you truly believe that I am in control of my own life and my life experience? And I will admit, and there was grief when I let go of the expectation that I had unconsciously placed on my first kid of, this is what I think your life is going to look like. And to let that go and realize, wow, that wasn't mine to do. And it was an unconscious, because of habit and behavior, because as moms, parents, and guardians, we want what we think is best for our kids. We want our kids to grow up safe and happy and have enough money to live their dreams and live the life they want and find the partner. And unconsciously, we create the picture of what we think that is. We create the picture of what we think would be some good ideas. And that's been the blessing for me, is to challenge that where I've done that for them, and then to challenge for myself the unconscious patterns and beliefs and rules that I have been living in that I hadn't thought to question. I hadn't realized I could question. It's been fascinating. And so they have just, like I said, been educating me that there's more than just two genders. There's more than just two forms of relationship. There's more than two forms of what's acceptable as far as how people are going to hang out together, spend time together. I don't know if my kids are ever going to get married, because that, again, too, is an evolution of who says I have to.
Well, and and what I'm hearing, and what I am hearing in other places in my environment now too, is that one of the catchphrases nowadays for children who are developmentally or emotionally challenged is that they are, quote, on the spectrum, end quote. Well, guess what? There's a hell of a lot more than just one spectrum.
Yes.
There is not much in the world that is not a spectrum. And and I am a firm believer in evolution, as you know, we have evolved enough to start seeing those spectrums. It's not, I mean, there's a spectrum for mental health. There's a spectrum for physical health. There's a spectrum for gender. There's a spectrum for spirituality. There's a spectrum for body shape. You know, I mean, there's a spectrum for everything that exists in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking one of the blessings from your trans teens is that they've said, yo, mom, here's another spectrum.
Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful that more and more people are waking up to, oh, wow, this was just a paradigm that I have been living in and I have been placing on other people around me. And more people are challenging that and expanding their awareness. And sadly, at the same time, there are people who are digging their heels in that want to go back to black and white, men and women, men in charge, women in the kitchen, you know.
Well, you know, and it's a power thing. And there's a spectrum for that too, by the way. But it seems to me that that the wonderful thing that is happening is that as we become aware of a spectrum, we sneak up around the edges of it and check it out. We taste it and see what it tastes like. What does it, we squint a little bit, we tip our head, and eventually we get to a place where we say, okay, if this spectrum exists, I'm on it someplace. Where am I? Where is this in me? Where am I in this? Because, it's not that and that, it's this. And that is one of the terms that I use a lot in my final questions. That's conscious evolution.
Each one of us claiming responsibility for our own lives, our own health, our own experience, and how are we showing up in the experience of another? Like you just said, how am I part of that? How am I contributing? Am I contributing in a supportive way or a destructive way? Right? It's each one of us. And that's part of my message. Yes, it's about spreading joy, but part of the spreading joy comes from each one of us claiming responsibility for ourselves. So going back to our choice, right? Our choice of our thoughts, our choice of our responses, our choice of where and how we show up, our choice of Robert and I could have responded quite differently to our kids. And they have friends parents who aren't supportive or don't understand and don't choose to understand. They don't choose to expand their understanding. They are choosing to say, no, this is the way it's always been. There's something wrong with you, trying to, whatever it is. So when you choose to do something, you're choosing to not do something else.
That's right.
So if they're not choosing to be open, they're choosing to stay limited. So
no choice is a choice.
Exactly. And so again, it's for each one of us to say, hey, I'm here. I am a magnificent creation, unique creation of life. And my opinion, I believe life is a game. And I believe we get to make it up. So it works for us.
As we go along.
Not harm anyone else. And how can we make it fun? And if we go out each day with, I am going to walk out with the intention of being love and compassion and kindness and sharing joy and brightening someone else's day, right? And choosing to allow you to express however you want to dress, whatever hair color you want to have, tattoos. I may not want those kind of tattoos for myself, but have at it. If your body is a tapestry and you want to allow artwork to be displayed wherever you go, beautiful. How is that different from that? Right? Mine's stagnant. How boring is my stagnant? It doesn't walk around and express in the world. Different ways. We all get to choose. But it starts from claiming and then not judging someone else's choices.
And that's a choice too. I asked, oh God, 50 years ago, I started asking God to teach me non-judgment. And God is still snickering up God's sleeve. But the trick, I think, is that we judge ourselves. And because we judge ourselves, because we don't let ourselves off the hook, we feel justified in judging other people. So I think that for me, the key to the whole thing is to look into somebody else's face and see myself.
Yes.
To look into somebody else's face and love them the way I would want to be loved. And love them means give them permission to be the truth of who they are.
Yes.
And oddly enough, it's easier for me to do that for other people than it is for myself. Go figure. But I just want you to know how much I respect and honor and am in awe of the way you do that all day, every day. And not only do you do that all day, every day with your trans teens, but you teach other people how to do that with Radiant Joy Coaching, which this blows me out of the water. So I want to talk a little bit about Radiant Joy Coaching and make sure people know how they can get a hold of you and that sort of thing.
I am in the process of being more out there and vocal and findable. But in the short term, I am on Facebook, and my middle name is Kirsten, starts with a K, so Lara Kirsten Brzezinski. And I do have an Instagram platform, and that will be up as well. And I'm sharing just my thoughts, and I will have my website up soon, because I do one-on-one individual coaching for people who really want to claim the truth of who they are and live and create a big, bold, audacious vision for their life and then live into that. And I'm in the process of sharing that information out more than just one-on-one. But the best way to just find out what I'm up to is to find me either of those places, send me an email, lara@radiantjoycoaching.com, because it's the ripple effect, right? As you and I were talking earlier, Sharri, we read different people's books, trainings, wisdoms, teaching. We are where we are because of the teachings that other people have shared. And we are doing that today in this conversation, inviting people to consider different perspectives, inviting people to choose themselves, choose to allow other people to be however they want. We are inviting people to consider there's more than one spectrum out there. There's spectrums for everything, right? And so I am stepping forward into a more intentional way of being a voice to support people in just that, learning to love yourself first, letting go of the judgments of yourself first, because that's where the judgments of others come from. So when we can start here.
Well, I'm going to ask you my 5 questions, but first I'm going to ask you a nosy question, just because it popped into my head and I've wondered about it off and on for a couple of years now. How did you pick blue for the color of your hair?
Well, when we first started coloring our hair, it was back in 2016. And I say we, it was the whole family.
I remember that picture with all 4 of you having turquoise hair. I remember that.
Oh, it was turquoise and it was red and yellow and purple, and it was crazy. And it was an opportunity to have fun with our kids and challenge our beliefs about what does it mean to be an adult who colors their hair. It's one thing when your kids color their hair, but to be adults in a spiritual community and out there and coloring our hair. And so that was part of me challenging my own beliefs about tattoos and earrings and nose rings and no hair and spiked hair and colored hair and whatever, right? Like, oh, wow, I didn't realize that I had an opinion, judgment about some of those things. And so it evolved, and there were periods of time where we didn't color, and then I went back to, I want to have more fun in life. And at the time, purple was my favorite color a few years ago. And so I was doing purple, and I was matching my clothes, purple hair, and that worked. And I evolved, ironically, because I bought a different hair color that instead of fading to pink, it faded to blue. And I love the blue. I had so many more compliments on the blue, and maybe because people were tired of the purple, it was something new, but whatever it was, I went, wow, this works. I love it. And Robert painted that beautiful picture behind me, and it has more blue, and I have blue eyes, in case you haven't noticed. So it just felt like a beautiful evolution all on its own. And it's fun. So that's what I'm going to.
I love it. That was not necessary. It was just, I was just nosy. Okay. So now we'll do the 5 questions. And the first one, of course, is there anything that you want our viewers to know or hear or see that I haven't asked you about?
Every day we get to choose. We get to choose how quickly we get out of bed. We get to choose our attitude in the morning. Is it going to be a great day, or is it going to be another day? And we get to choose every moment, every day. So if I haven't made that clear, we get to choose how we interact. We get to choose what we put into our body to keep our bodies strong and healthy. We get to choose to take a pause before we respond so that we don't react. We get to choose.
Oh, very good. Okay. So the other 4 questions. The first one, of course, we've been dancing around, but I'll give you a chance to sum it up. And that is, how does what you do, not just Radiant Joy coaching, but how you, Lara, how you be, how you parent, how you wife, how you coach, how you be, how does that encourage, support, expand, pick your verb, conscious evolution?
I love the expression, the Marianne Williamson, when you give yourself permission to shine, you give other people permission to shine. When I claim and accept who I am, when I set boundaries that support me and staying healthy in all areas, I demonstrate to other people what it looks like, and I give them permission. Oh, you can do that too, without having to say it. And it's through that we all get to evolve. And it's in the stating, I'm a parent of a trans teen, and I am honored by that. Not it's anything else, but it's an honor. It's a privilege that I get to experience that. That's how it's a demonstration out in the world.
All right. Okay. So next question sounds very similar, but it's not quite the same. How does what you do and how you do it, how you be, How does that encourage, unveil, support world peace?
The Buddhist saying is every human being at our core, we really are only searching for two things: a peaceful mind and a joyful heart. And the more peaceful your mind, the less judgment, the less criticism of yourself, of anyone else, the more space it creates for joy and happiness and going out there and sharing your gifts, because judgment and criticism and hate and all of that is contractive, and love, kindness, compassion, and joy is expansive. And that's how.
I'll take it. That works for me. Okay, here's the next one. This is the one most folks enjoy the most. Close your eyes because you have to use your imagination. Okay, now we are presuming that everything, every detail, every event, every encounter, every experience for the next 10 years goes exactly the way you want it to go. What does Lara Brzezinski and Radiant Joy coaching look like then?
Whew. You're asking me to say this out loud in front of...
I am, out loud with feeling.
So New Thought Media Network is its own global broadcast network of positive music, media, entertainment, and more. Radiant Joy Coaching and Lara Brzezinski is a global voice for love, compassion, for uplifting each other, supporting anyone that comes in contact, whether it's through a speaking engagement, a retreat, coaching, my books, is supported, is inspired and empowered to live a life of peace and joy and uplift all of those around them.
Well, I'll take an order of that too. Thank you very much. Okay, here's the last question. Will you come back?
I would love to. This is always fun. Thank you.
All right. My next opening is August 26th of next year. I'm sorry, August 19th. August 19th of next year. So I can just pencil you in?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. And let me just look at the schedule and let everybody know who's going to be here next week, because I don't want anybody to miss out on someone that they're really waiting to see. And next week is Reverend Christina Jones from Divine Feminine Evolution. Divine Feminine Evolution. I rather like that. So you don't want to miss it. Have a great week. In the meantime, have a great weekend. And don't forget that I love you. I'll see you next week.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe.